Okay.
Just go for 2 stories, 3 stories, and then go in.
Okay. Hi, these are lead stories.
Okay, cue.
Hi, these are lead stories. SOP relaxation for fully vaccinated individuals. Business sectors will be announced after Hari Raya Aidil Adha. And Bukit Aman says 929 human trafficking victims rescued as of May this year. Now, on the show, I'll be speaking to Justin Victor, the chairman of Befrienders Kuala Lumpur, on mental health issues and its importance. I'm Jessie Chahel, and you're watching the Nation Update. Let's begin with this. According to the Deputy Prime Minister, the government will announce SOP relaxation for those who have completed the 2-dose vaccination schedule after Hari Raya Aidil Adha. Apparently, the technical committee is still looking into the matter to determine the levels of flexibility. On the other hand, Malaysia's fiscal deficit is expected to go up to between 6.5 and 7% of its GDP this year from the 6% targeted earlier, after factoring in the recent stimulus packages announced by the government. Now, the Finance Minister, Tengku Zafrul, says the government is ready to expand fiscal space whenever necessary to support the economy and the people. He adds, open quote, "We have a deficit that is going to reach 7%. It's not about the size of the deficit, it's the ability to borrow and the size of the reserves," end quote. Finally, he also adds, he had pointed out that the country has recorded its highest ever deficit between 2008 and 2009, moving from 6.7% to 6.9%. And as in the headlines earlier, a total of 929 individuals believed to be victims of human trafficking were rescued by the police and given the Interim Protection Order, or IPO, following 190 raids conducted nationwide from January last year till May this year. Now, Bukit Aman Criminal Investigation Department Director Datuk Sri Abdul Jalil Hassan says of the total, 74 individuals were given the IPO last year, while 65 people obtained it in the first 5 months of this year. Moving on, according to the Prime Minister, all adults in Malaysia are expected to be fully vaccinated by October under a new immunisation target set by the government. The Prime Minister adds that the fast-track approach in the National Immunisation Programme includes boosting the capacity of vaccination rate to 500,000 doses per day. And in a statement just released yesterday, the Health Director General says COVID-19 has claimed 153 lives. Of the total, 125 were Malaysians and 28 more were foreigners. This was the highest number of fatalities in a single day. The country's COVID-19 death toll now stands over 7,000 cases. And Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob has reminded Malaysians not to sneak away back to their hometowns or respective hometowns to celebrate Hari Raya Aidil Adha. Pointing out to the explosion of cases post-Aidil Fitri, he's reiterated the government's seriousness in deterring not essential interstate travel by increasing police and security personnel presence on the road. And the Ministry of Entrepreneur Development and Cooperatives has established a hotline service to assist entrepreneurs suffering from mental and emotional distress due to the prolonged lockdown. According to Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tunku Jaafar, due to the indefinite lockdown, many entrepreneurs were unable to operate businesses for almost a year and are now facing financial hardship. The hotline is a crucial support service by MIDAC and its agencies to address concerns and mental health issues faced by entrepreneurs currently. Well, on that note, I'd like to bring in my guest for today, Justin Victor, who is a chairman at Befrienders Kuala Lumpur, to talk about mental health issues and its importance. Justin, hi. Thanks for joining me today. It's good to finally have you. I know you've been busy as well with many engagements. Justin, as we talk about mental health issues, and we've seen this in the news, and we've heard it through friends and family. Given your exposure of 23 years and counting now, Justin, has there been progress in the way we deal with mental health issues? Basically, your thoughts on the trends that has led to the rise, besides, of course, the pandemic and COVID.
Hi, Jesse, and hello, Malaysia. Yes, there's been a lot of changes in terms of the number of people coming forward. That's one big thing. Greater awareness has been growing, definitely. So in this long period that you said I've been befriending, listening to issues, that maybe the type of issues generally seem to be the same. But what's good is that more people seem to be coming out and reaching out and calling, but still not enough. What is being done, a lot of changes have also happened. I think there have been a lot of efforts by government and various NGOs. Several other NGOs besides Befrienders have arisen over this time period to offer various kinds of support and help, not only a hotline kind of help, but various other mental health support. Maybe what is lacking still is people engaging in health-seeking behavior. I don't know if I go ahead a bit, but in a sense, there is still a strong stigma surrounding that.
If you mentioned just the right word there, Justin, we speak about awareness. Okay, we see a lot more awareness, perhaps a lot more is being done. But then we talk about stigma as well. Are we as individuals finding it easier to talk about problems and accepting if one is diagnosed with a mental health condition?
Well, it seems to be more people are calling. So if you just use that as a simple gauge, it's not the absolute gauge for the whole country. But, we have been seeing Befrienders have been seeing a rise in number of people are calling. So at least that indicates that more people are wanting and willing and know about services to reach out to. So we're also hearing government also saying all the hotlines, etc., were overrun, and thousands calling, especially the last 1.5 years with the pandemic. But people calling, like say for Befrienders, often there is the veil of anonymity or confidentiality. So to speak about it is fairly easy, and the next step sometimes is much more difficult because that involves coming out a bit into the open, which is to actually go and seek professional help. And several people who take the first step need to go on to the next level, which is to seek professional help in terms of either counselors, psychologists, or psychiatric help. And that varies according to each individual. Now that there seems to be still quite a stigma about it. And we hear, at least again anecdotally from our callers, people who in the family don't support their wanting to go to see a professional. So this is interesting. Those who are already troubled have started to look and understand what they may need. And some recognize that they need professional help. And here we're talking about younger people. That means those who are minors possibly, and parents and family, not entirely supporting them because of certain concerns that it may look bad on them, or thinking that it's just a phase that one goes through, that sort of thing. And of course the common kind of retort sometimes is when we ourselves suggest when someone looks pretty seriously troubled that they might need to get professional help, they say, oh, but I'm not crazy.
Exactly. So I'm just going to jump in there. It seems like, the starting point is perhaps lifting the phone and trying to reach out, to call someone, to call a hotline. And it also seems at that point that everyone's putting out hotlines. But is that enough? And as you mentioned, there is sort of a pain point somewhere during that, that sort of line where after you've highlighted, okay, I would like to talk to someone, I need to express, so on and so forth. then it seems like you take two steps back because of perhaps the stigma or not having enough access to help. So in this sort of gap that you've just mentioned, what can be done, and how can we improve that system so that help is accessible to more people?
Okay, so a good point you raised, that there are people calling and helplines alone are not enough, but there are still not enough helplines. So helplines are definitely, in a sense, if you want to call it, the first line, for those who are mildly troubled, disturbed. And with that talking and someone listening to them, showing caring, can already alleviate a lot of the pain. Yeah, but then there's the other group that you're mentioning, those that need to go on for further help. So that too, several people have come up now to offer their services online because of our inability to actually go physically, right? So this is an innovation that's brilliant, beautiful, not the perfect, or not the ideal, of course, but it is happening. Where is the gap? A lot of people still don't know how and where they can get some of these help. So it is being circulated. Individual groups do publicize it with their networks, but still occasionally there'll be some who, again, from our callers, we find that they don't know exactly how to reach this help, including the simple thing of that government hospitals have psychiatrists that you can see, that there are these clinic Kesihatan Mental, the Mentari, that people. So a lot of this there is a group under National Coalition on Mental Wellbeing is trying to come up with a more comprehensive list that more people can have access to and know how to find it. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is sometimes when they need to go, they need the support of the family. So here's where the call out is to families, individuals, those who are surrounding and who need to support the person who's having mental health problems or even mental illness, is to not judge them to be weak, not judge them to be just seeking attention. The non-judgmental thing must grow much, much more among the people of the whole nation. And then the other is a little push or encouragement, if you want, for them. Go get the help that you need. I am not sure actually in the actual numbers whether there are enough of helpers, professional helpers, but definitely psychiatrists are only few, 500 plus in the whole country, and they cannot deal with all kinds of issues.
We speak about helpers. How many helpers does the center have at this point of time? I also understand that in the recent past there has been a rise in the number of calls received at the center. What are the usual calls like? And also, to be a helper, a volunteer, what is the work of a volunteer manning these lines, and what are perhaps some of the do's and don'ts, Justin? As we lose time on the program today, just like to ensure that you'll be able to share this bit with us.
Well, we have about 100 or so active volunteers, and maybe right now during the pandemic time, even slightly less, about 80, 90 were actively going. We definitely need more people to volunteer, and that's a process of training that's involved there. You could write in, go to our website, befrienders.org.my, and you could see that how to volunteer. And when we open up for training, we will invite people in. How people can help is, of course, to publicize further the availability of such services as ours and other helplines too. I mean, we're not saying that we are the only ones, but at the moment there are more than one which is 24/7. So that's a good thing also. It is expanded beyond that. Did I miss any other part of your question? Can you remind me, Jesse?
Not quite. You basically have answered most of it, but I think because we don't have much time left, what would your message be to viewers, to Malaysians who find themselves in a bit of a predicament, who are thinking twice about picking up that phone, and who are looking for some accessibility to some kind of help?
Okay, yeah. So search for who you can talk to and reach out. Please call. Often enough, the kind of barrier is people might say, I don't know what to say. And I think I've said it somewhere else too. Just call. If you're feeling troubled, you're feeling overwhelmed, and there's nobody you can talk to, maybe family members are not available or you don't click with them, just call. And we will help you to unravel maybe a bit of what is happening with you. So just as long as you have that intention or that feeling of disturbed mental state, call, reach out, talk to somebody. It'll be a great help. Then we can help you see further if you need, further professional help, and even can possibly suggest places and organizations where you can connect to get that help.
Thank
So
you very
reach
much,
out.
Justin, for your time. I know we've been chasing you for about a week plus now, but thank you. And indeed, that reinforces our hashtag Kita Jaga Kita. We can all do our part to take care of one another. Justin, we'll speak to you soon. In the meantime, stay safe. Well, that's all for now on this edition of the Nation Update. I'm Jessie Chahal. Thanks for watching, and remember to stay safe.